welcome to Football Scientific. I'm Aaron Sauter, writer for FootballAnalysisOne.com, where I cover the NFL. Check out my Power Rankings article for Week 17 of the NFL season. I power ranked all 32 teams. Check out my CFL News Hub articles about the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and also check out my UFLNewsHub.com articles. I'll be writing one today about what quarterbacks I think the Storm should pick up, the Orlando Storm, based on the colleges they're connected to, okay? Florida State, Florida, UCF, and USF. Boom! Today we're just going to go over the NFL games from Christmas Day and go over some roster changes going into games tomorrow. We have 2 games tomorrow on the NFL schedule for Week 17, and then a cluster of Sunday ones. And then we have, Monday Night Football, of course, okay? A lot of playoff implications in these games, although the playoffs are almost set in the NFC, and they're almost set in the AFC as well. So we'll see how this plays out. But we're going to go over those Christmas Day games first, and then talk about some roster moves. And then on TikTok, we'll be making 2 scouting reports right now, and then 3 scouting reports ultimately for today for the 3 bowl games in college football. So that is the plan. I am joined by my guest host, Tyler the Tiger. Tyler the Tiger here, ready to go. Fired up, ready to talk about the NFL on Christmas Day. It was pretty awesome. And we'll also talk about roster moves. All right, in the NFL. So that's the plan. That should be a pretty quick show. This show's been brought to you by W Energy. Professor, you look quite tired. I look tired? Yeah, you must be worn out from Christmas. I am a little tired from Christmas. Okay, well, drink some W Energy, and then we'll all feel better. Okay, I'll do that. There's the W Energy. Yeah, I feel a lot better. Good work, Tyler Tiger. Way to remind me about the W Energy. You're welcome. Remember, W Energy gives nice, clear, pure energy without the jitters or angst. Yay! And you can focus more when you play your video games and watch film and stuff. It should be a great day. All right, let's go over this NFL stuff. Let's break it down. All right, let's break it down. So first, the first game yesterday was Dallas Cowboys at Washington Commanders, okay? Dak Prescott came out, went 19 for 37, 307 yards, 2 touchdowns. And no interceptions. Malik Davis ran the ball 20 times for 103 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 fumbles. Javonte Williams did play in that game. He just didn't lead them in rushing like Malik Davis did. Kevontae Turpin, an old USFL guy, okay? He had 1 catch for 86 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 sacks. So that's an explosive play. 1 catch for 86 yards and 1 touchdown. And they had 2 sacks overall. Washington Commanders starting 3rd-string quarterback Josh Johnson went 15 for 23 for 198 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Not a great game, but he survived. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt had 11 runs for 105 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 fumbles. Pretty good game by Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. Deebo Samuel had 2 guys with 68 yards and 0 touchdowns, and they had 6 quarterback sacks. Now, the really weird stat of this game, and I went through this in an article, but it'll be released on Tuesday, of course, after all the Week 17 games are played, is that the Cowboys dominated the time of possession in this game. They dominated the play. I think they ran 47 plays, 87 plays, to 37, so like 40 more plays than the Commanders, but they only won 30-23. Why? Because they kept turning the ball over and giving a short field to Commanders, and kept the Commanders in the game. Even the Commanders didn't play that well, they stayed in the game till the end. Okay, next, so Dallas won 30-23. Boom, meaningless game, really. Detroit, this next one had playoff implications. Detroit Lions and Minnesota Vikings. Okay, so in that game, if Detroit wins, they need the Green Bay Packers to lose twice, and then they can become a playoff team. If they lose once to Minnesota, who's already out of the playoffs, they lost once to Minnesota, they're out of the playoffs as well. Eliminating Detroit from the playoffs and putting Green Bay in the playoffs automatically. So, with that in mind, Jared Goff came out and he went 18 for 29 for 197 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He also had 2 fumbles. The Lions had 6 turnovers overall. Jahmyr Gibbs had 17 runs, 41 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 fumble. And Isaac Teslaw had 3 catches, 49 yards, 1 touchdown. They did have 6 quarterback sacks in that game. Minnesota Vikings started string quarterback Max Brosmer again. He went 9 for 16 for 51 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So he just managed the game. Didn't go for anything really. Just managed the game. Aaron Jones had 18 runs for 53 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 fumbles. Jordan Addison had 0 catches for 0 yards and 0 touchdowns. That's not saying much. That's really hurting in receiving. They had 5 quarterback sacks. What happened in this game? Detroit just kept turning the ball over. 6 turnovers overall. Minnesota had 0 turnovers with Max Brosmer. And Minnesota wins this game 23-10, eliminating the Detroit Lions from the playoffs. So both of those teams are going, and the Green Bay Packers are now in the playoffs. Okay. All right. So the last game, which was last night, Denver Broncos at Kansas City Chiefs, old school rivalry. The Chiefs have, put a lot of players out for the rest of the season, so I didn't think it would be a very competitive game, but I was wrong because I don't think the Denver Broncos are that good. So Denver Broncos came into KC. Bo Nix went 26 for 38 for 182 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. That's hurtful. R.J. Harvey had 14 runs for 34 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 fumbles. That's not great. 14 carries for 34 yards. Ouch. Cortland Sutton had 4 catches for 40 yards, 0 touchdowns, and they had 1 quarterback sack, which their game is getting quarterback sacked. Only 1 quarterback sack. That's really good by the Chiefs' protection. Okay, and they needed it because third-string quarterback Chris Olodokun was getting his first start in his career. He went 13 for 22 for 66 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interception. 66 yards of passing offense. Okay, that's not very good. He threw the ball 22 times and picked up 66 yards. That's 2 yards per, just over 3 yards per pass attempt. Okay, Kareem Hunt had 7 carries for 38 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 fumbles. Travis Kelce had 5 catches, 36 catches, 5 catches for 36 yards, 0 touchdowns, and they had 1 sack. What happened in this one? Well, Kansas City just kept hanging around. Denver could not get their offense fired up to go out here and take this game and win it decisively. So instead, Denver had to use a trick play in the 4th quarter to pick up a first down to go score a touchdown and take the lead finally in the last part of the quarter. And then they had to go on a defensive stand. But they let Kansas City Chiefs drive it all the way down to like the 20-yard line. Chris Olodokun was just making plays up and down the field. 2 yards at a time. Denver Broncos did get them to stop on turnover on downs, though. Olodokun missed an open pass in the end zone to tie it up, force overtime. He threw it over his head, and now allowed Denver to pick up the win 20-13. Denver is back to being the leader for the first seed overall in the playoffs. I don't think, even if they become the number 1 seed, I don't think they're going to make it to the Super Bowl. They're just not good enough on offense. Boom. So, quick reminder, Green Bay Packers have clinched a playoff spot. They play the Ravens this week. Jordan Love, I guess, might play. He's been marked as questionable. Malik Willis might play. He's been marked as questionable. If he plays, he needs to manage the game. But it might help the Packers out. They may not start either of those quarterbacks because now they've clinched a playoff spot. And they would like to have a chance to win the NFC North, but how much do they want to win that? How much do you need to win that? So that's what we're going to find out when they decide their quarterback situation. They're playing the Baltimore Ravens, so it would be good to start your quarterback. But now if he's in concussion protocol, and Malik Willis is dealing with illnesses. There's a bunch of illness going around the Packers locker room, and Malik Willis has had that, and a shoulder injury. Detroit Lions have been eliminated from the playoffs. They're gone. Minnesota Vikings placed center Ryan Kelly on the IR due to his 3rd concussion this year. He's done for the season. IR, non-playoff team. 4 weeks, he's done. Pittsburgh Steelers defensive end T.J. Watt returns to practice after recovering from his partially collapsed lung from the needling treatment from his training staff. Washington Commanders cornerback Jonathan Jones left the game last night with the Cowboys with a concussion. Didn't hear any word on that. Green Bay Packers lost, lists both quarterbacks Jordan Love and Malik Willis as questionable. I guess Jordan Love's more questionable because he's still in the concussion protocol. I've heard that he can get out of concussion protocol right before the game on Thursday. So we'll see if he does Saturday. Sorry. Right before the game on Saturday night's game against the Ravens. Okay. On the Ravens side, quarterback Lamar Jackson is listed as doubtful, and it seems like quarterback Tyler Snoop Huntley, is going to play quarterback for the Ravens, and that means if the Packers have Malik Willis, that's an even matchup of backup quarterbacks. Might not be an exciting game, but it's right there. Ravens need to win this game to maintain any playoff hopes. If they lose, Steelers, without winning the game, is going to be the AFC North champions and make the playoffs. Ravens, this is a must-win game for the Ravens. This is basically a playoff game for the Ravens. Okay, it's not for the Packers because they already made the playoffs because Detroit lost. All right, so check out, that's it for the show today. Check out footballanalysis1.com for my articles, including my power rankings article. Boom, we're working on my most critical stats for week 17 right now, which will be released on Tuesday. We got CFLNewsHub.com, been some CFL news recent days. And then, like I said, keep an eye on UFONewsHub.com. I'm going to find out what quarterbacks will be a great fit for Orlando Storm and talk about why they should pick those quarterbacks up to go with Anthony Becht and become the best team in the UFL, whatever that means, okay? All right, so with that in mind, we're going to close the Football Scientific portal. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. That is Football Scientific for today. Boop, 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 boop.